What's up, guys? So here are my picks for UFC on ESPN: Blaydes versus Lewis. I'll be doing the entire main card and the first fight from the prelims. So I have 6 fights that I'm gonna cover. However, tomorrow I should have the entire card posted on my Instagram, method and round. So, and I always leave the link to my Instagram in case you're curious to see what all my picks are. But here we go. Blaydes versus Lewis. So main event is Curtis Blaydes versus Derek Lewis. I have Curtis Blaydes all day winning this one. This is actually a very easy fight to break down or analyze. And we know the classic situation where, other than a puncher's chance for Derek Lewis, other than a puncher's chance, he has no chance of beating Curtis Blaydes. This might actually be a repetition of Blaydes versus Volkov. If you watch the fight between Blaydes and Volkov, it wasn't a fun fight. It was boring. It was boring as fuck. It was Blaydes laying on top of Volkov basically the entire first 4 rounds, and I think round 5 was the one round when Volkov was able to, do some stuff. But there's no way Blaydes is gonna go there and to slug it out with Derek Lewis. No way. That would be dumb of him, because that is Lewis's window of opportunity to win. If he keeps the fight standing, which I don't think he will. If you look at Curtis Lewis gets taken down. It's not like this is a guy who has an amazing takedown defense. His last fight versus, even in his fight versus Latifi, who is a middleweight, he got taken down many times. Even the one with Oleinik, he got taken down many times. And if you've seen the way Blaydes fights versus Volkov, versus not Dos Santos, Abdurakhimov. So if you look at the one with Volkov, Abdurakhimov, and Justin Willis, even the one with Mark Hunt, that's basically how this fight's gonna most likely play out. Blaydes just closes the distance, shoots for a double, takes Lewis down, ground and pound, repeat, over and over and over. Obviously, Lewis is very well. I always talk about how, you gotta think that Lewis is prepared and expecting a takedown. There's no way he would have not prepared himself for. He knows that he's gonna have to be defending takedowns. So round 1 might be interesting. Round 1 might be the round where Lewis is actually able to stop a few takedowns. Or maybe if he gets taken down, he'll be full of energy where he can't get up. But I think eventually, after the second, third, fourth takedown, each one gets harder for him, and eventually Blaydes will be able to control him on the ground. When the fight first was announced, I was like, Blaydes, unanimous decision, 24 minutes, humfest. But then the more I think about it, I actually think it might be a TKO. So I'm picking Blaydes ground and pound KO. Ground and pound TKO round 3. I think Lewis will survive round 1, survive round 2, but he'll be completely gassed by round 3, and I think the fight will be called. I think the referee will stop the fight round 3 after Blaydes is just randomly ground and pound, some brutal ground and pound. Of course, I give Blaydes a very well-deserved puncher's chance. I'm a very big, if you've been watching my videos, I am a very big believer on puncher's chance. Whenever a fighter has the ability to knock you out with one punch, you have to give him the puncher's chance. It doesn't always happen. Most of the time, it actually doesn't happen. But it has happened enough times where, it is a factor. So, especially round 1, round 1 might be even the one round where most likely, if Lewis is going to win, it will probably be round 1 by brutal knockout while they're standing. So, but Curtis Blaydes, he's gonna use his wrestling. get it ground and pound TKO round 3. Before that, we have Anthony Smith versus Devin Clark. Anthony Smith is coming from 2 losses, 2 very one-sided losses. So his second to last fight, he got. I talked about this when I was talking about Glover for fighting Thiago Santos. Smith got the absolute shit out of him beat in that fight. Round 1, he did actually pretty good. He was landing a lot of shots on Glover, but that was it. That was the only round where Smith had the advantage. After that, Glover's grappling made the difference, and it was ground and pound most of round 2, all round 3, all round 4, and then TKO'd him round 5. It was a complete absolute destruction other than round 1 where Smith won. His last fight versus Rakic, it was pretty dominant, but he didn't take as much as a beatdown as he did against Teixeira. And he got out grappled. That was the thing that was interesting about that fight. So not only was he getting completely outstriked by Rakic, if you've seen that fight, Rakic was landing body kicks, calf kicks. He actually dropped him with calf kicks. I thought it was going to be a case where the fight was going to end by TKO via leg kicks, specifically calf kicks, but no. Rakic was actually able to out-grapple him, and every single time he had the opportunity, he took him down or he reversed him, and then controlled him. It wasn't a competitive fight. It was an absolute total domination by Rakic. So like I said, he didn't get a beatdown like he did versus Glover, but he got dominated. And he's taken on Devin Clark. I'm picking Smith to win. I'm picking Smith by submission round 2, but I'm not super confident. I mean, I will say that. I question the amount of punishment that he has taken in the last 2 fights, and the fact that Devin Clark. I feel like if Devin Clark bites down on his mouthpiece and lands a clean shot, he could possibly knock Smith out. But overall, I just think Smith is the better fighter. I don't think Clark is a better striker. I don't think he's a better grappler either. I think he has a lot of strength, and maybe round 1 might be competitive. Hell, Clark might even win round 1. But I think eventually Smith experience and overall better. He has twice the experience. I would say even almost 3 times the experience of Clark. And I think that's going to come into play into this fight. I think Smith approaches a fight carefully, especially coming from 2 losses. And then eventually round 2 starts to put the pressure on Clark and gets the submission. So I'm picking Smith by submission, but I also give Clark a puncher's chance. I actually give Clark more of a chance than Lewis. Like between the 2 of them, I feel like Clark has more chance of upsetting than Lewis. But still, I'm picking Smith by submission, round 2. Like I said, I just think he's better than Clark everywhere, and that's going to show. Before that, we have Josh Parisian and Parker Porter. I have Josh Parisian, brutal knockout, round 1. I'm going to say, the only thing that I know about these 2 guys is their last fights. That's the only thing I've ever seen from these guys. So Parker Porter, I saw his last fight versus Chris DeCows, and Parisian, his last fight versus Chad Johnson. And to be honest, I don't see anything special about either one of them. Porter, he looks like he's fighting in slow motion. He's a very, very slow heavyweight. You can tell that he packs power on his punches, and but that's it. Like that, it's it. That's the only thing that I give this guy, Porter. Everything else is very, substandard. Like nothing special about him. And Josh Parisian as well. I was watching his last fight versus Chad Johnson, and there were moments where he was like, you could tell Johnson was a lot faster, and I think that played into the moments that he was able to kind of outpace him and outwork him. Even though Parisian won by knockout round 1, you could tell that Johnson was way faster. Porter's not gonna have that on Parisian. He's way slower than Parisian. He's way slower. He's shorter reach, older. He just has everything going against him on this fight. And like I said, if you actually watch both their fights, which both of them are in Fight Pass or ESPN Plus, you will see what I see. Nothing really special about either one, but between the two, you know, combining the size, the age, the reach, the slightly speed, you gotta go with Parisian. So Parisian, brutal knockout, round 1. Before that, we have Baeza versus Takashi Sato. On this one, I'm picking Baeza. I did struggle though picking whether, you know, I'm still undecided whether this is going to be a decision win for Baeza or maybe a knockout. Baeza last fight was versus Matt Brown, where other than a few instances where Matt Brown landed a quick combination that had Baeza really hurt, a couple minutes into the first round, the entire fight was all Baeza with the calf kicks. Baeza actually dropped him round 1, where it looked like Matt Brown was out, but he actually survived. And then he knocked him out round 2. But I am not impressed at all by Sato's striking. Yeah, sure, he dropped Jason Witt and finished with ground and pound, but I don't think that's going to work on Baeza. Baeza's bigger, more reach, the younger guy. And I see this fight being a stand-up battle between the two of them. I don't see Takashi Sato being able to take Baeza down and control him. I think Baeza is going to force him to stand up and trade. And that's where Baeza is going to pull the knockout. So I'm picking Baeza at TKO round 2, but it could very well end up being a decision by Baeza. The reason why I say that is because Sato, I think, has only been finished one time in his entire career. But on the other side, Baeza has a lot of knockouts. If you look at his last 5 fights, 3 of them are by knockout, 2 of them by decision. So it's kind of tough, you know. Whenever I see a guy that has never been finished or only been finished one time, it's kind of hard for me to pick that he's going to get TKO. But when the other guy has a lot of knockouts like Baeza, and especially against Matt Brown, who, you know, normally this guy beats, you know, the nobodies. And like I say, Baeza worked him. Other than that, a couple punches in round 1, it was all Baeza. Before that, we have Bill Algeo versus Spike Carlyle. I have Spike Carlyle by decision. The one thing that Algeo showed against his fight, in his fight with Ricardo Lamas, is that he can pressure and he has a lot of heart. You know, he's a guy that is not going to quit. He lost that fight by decision. Clearly lost round 1. I think he did. Clearly won round 2. Got dominated round 3. Spike Carlyle, however, his last fight was very controversial. I think he clearly won round 2. Quarantillo clearly won round 3. There is no denying. But round 2 was the round that was kind of close, where some people think that Carlyle should have got that win. And I'm one of them. I thought he won round 1 and 2, but yeah, there's nothing special about Algeo. Running out of time here. Other than his heart and durability, I think Carlyle works him into a decision. So yeah, I'm picking Spike Carlyle by decision. Keeps the fight standing, or he could grapple him as well. Pulls a decision. And then Luke Sanders hasn't fought in almost 2 years. His last win was against Vernon Barao. He won, but he lost round 1. I think those 2 years are going to take a toll on him, and I think Maness gets the decision. Sorry guys, I ran out of time here. So I have Blaydes KO TKO ground and pound round 3, Anthony Smith submission round 2, Parisian KO TKO round 1, Baeza KO TKO round 2 or decision, Spike Carlyle by decision, and Nate Maness by decision. All right guys, have a good one.